Okay, so a lot of people ask Metron, how do you actually cost justify capacity management? What are the financial benefits that come from doing it well? And there's a number of traditional areas which we can provide advice and guidance as to how organisations can do this. One of the most valuable benefits that you get from capacity management is that of reducing the amount of downtime, outages that happen due to capacity issues. So for example, where fatal contention occurs for resources because utilisation's gone too high on systems. And capacity management done properly enables you to avoid such instances where a system's unavailable because of these capacity issues. So imagine the situation where, say, you have a business based on selling things off a website. If the website's unavailable, then obviously you can't take the money in via that means. There's various estimates for how much downtime due to any issue costs an organisation, but for core vertical markets like finance, telecoms, retail, pharmaceuticals, you're typically talking in the region of above $1 million an hour when a system's unavailable. So just capacity management done effectively, saving you 10 minutes of downtime due to capacity issues, can more than pay for the investment in software and personnel required to do capacity management very well. A second area where a lot of organisations justify capacity management and see significant payback is in reducing the amount of slow time with their systems. This is where the applications are available but they're performing slowly, so the users are experiencing poor service levels. Based on the example I mentioned before of a web-based application where an organisation's taking in business over the web, it could be that a user waiting for a slow response time on that application will just quit and go to another website run by your competitor and place their transaction there, and your competition win the business. A lot of organisations do find it hard to put a financial figure on slow time and say what it costs, but many will say they can relate slow time on a system, poor service quality for the user, to the cost of downtime where a system is totally unavailable. And they'll say that perhaps slow time costs them 10 or 15% of the cost of a system being fully down. So based on the numbers I gave you in the previous example of $1 million plus being the cost of downtime typically in core vertical markets like telecoms and pharmaceuticals, slow time on a system can still cost you hundreds of thousands through to millions of dollars per hour, and therefore capacity management reducing that is a significant benefit to any organisation. The third area I thought I'd mention in terms of capacity management cost justifying itself is the savings that you can get, or the value you can derive from better use of your capacity management staff or person's time. Basically give people the right tools, the right training, and they can do more work, they can become more productive, but also with the right tools at their disposal they can make sure there are fewer capacity problems that occur on the system, so that helps engineer the savings we've talked about already. But in terms of staff time, it's if people are able to do their work more efficiently, you have to consider the opportunity cost of that time. What else can they now do to the business? What other value can they provide? Because they're not spending as much time doing the capacity management work that they were needing to do before, prior to you having them correctly trained and given the right tools. Building on that concept of using capacity management staff's time better is the fact that if they are making sure there's fewer capacity management crises, then that has benefits outside of just the capacity management team. Less firefighting to resolve capacity issues means less time spent in war rooms where you gather together people from various disciplines around the IT infrastructure, typically starting with people pointing each other and blaming each other for who's the cause of the problem, be it server, disk, network, application. By having all of your capacity information concentrated into one place, capacity management team properly equipped to identify the cause of any capacity issues, they can make sure there's fewer occasions where you need to get a war room put together to identify what the problem is, and quicker resolution of any problems that do arise. Of course, fewer problems means the business is going to process more transactions, do more business, and most important of all perhaps, there'll be less disruption to the quality of service that the end users see. The area of cost justification I haven't mentioned so far is the one that is perhaps most traditionally associated with capacity management, and that's that it gives you a mechanism by which you can defer the purchase of resources until they're absolutely necessary, absolutely needed, and this has a direct financial saving for you. The basic concept of capacity management: get the most you can from the investment you've already made in resources. So say in server terms, increase the utilisation of your boxes as high as you can while still making sure that the users see an acceptable level of service. If you can do that and defer the upgrade or the replacement of infrastructure for 3, 6, 9, 12 months, then that saves you money. It saves you money on that hardware because due to Moore's law, typically you can buy more power for less money in 6 months' time or 12 months' time. But also deferring those purchases means that you're deferring the purchase of the software, you're deferring the use of the labour that's required to commission that new hardware, and so on. So significant savings come for capacity management by deferring the purchase of additional resources. That could be, as I say, server, disk, network resources. It could be increasing your virtualization density before you have to add in more virtual capability. And the final benefit or cost justification for capacity management that I wanted to mention is that of consolidating a variety of capacity management products. Quite a lot of large organisations have a variety of different capacity management solutions in place, and this is because typically capacity management starts off in a project when a new architecture is being implemented. So for example, many years ago organisations would buy a Unix capacity management product when they first got involved in Unix systems, and likewise with Windows, and then virtualization came along and the initial project teams for virtualization bought their own capacity management software, leaving organisations with different products in different silos, essentially doing the same purpose, the same task. Metron has for many years promoted what we call 360-degree capacity management, and this is where you provide one capacity management portal, centralise all of this information into one place. That means that various point products can be dropped. You can save money on licenses by removing those products and just concentrate everything into the one product, which also has benefits in terms of staff needing less training. All staff being able to share the one product typically uses less resource than having to have individual specialists for individual products.